In this lesson, we're going to finish the headlight of our car. Alright, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to create the third element of the car, and it's basically just a box, and it's going to hold some LED lights into it. So let's go ahead and left click and drag out a box here, and let's make it a little bit thinner, kind of like this, and make sure you give it a height, and then in your left view, hitting L on the keyboard, grab your remove tool with W and pull that forward. Okay. Now with this, what I want to do is I want to pull it forward until the bottom edge gets pretty close to the front edge of my headlight cavity here. Then we're going to convert this over to editable poly, and I'm going to take this top polygon right here and I'm going to pull that back until it comes back to an angle about like this. Then let's take this polygon, let's pull that back, give it a little bit of length, okay, just like so, and then I'm going to take that polygon and delete it. Okay, and then we're going to come in and we're going to use edit swift loop. Actually, let's not use swift loop. Let's use edge mode. Let's select this edge and then hit ring, and then I'm going to connect that with two segments, and I'm going to use my pinch value and I'm going to push that apart. So it should look something like that. Go to about a value of 44. Now with that, let's add a segment across the top and one across the bottom. Actually, let me think about this. Let's do this. Let's take the polygons that are on the bottom and delete those, and take the ones across the top and delete those. Then I'm going to take this polygon and I'm going to extrude it. Let's set our value to 0 and then hit OK, and then pull it back in the Y so it just comes straight back like that. Okay. Let's pull it back toward the front a little bit, give it kind of this small edge. Let's hit extrude again. OK, pull it back, and then extrude one more time, hit OK, and then pull it back just a little bit. So that way we can keep these areas hard right in here. Then I'm going to take these polygons that we just created across the top and bottom. I'm going to delete those. I don't need them. Okay, they're not absolutely necessary for this. And then all I have to do now is simply come in and add some segments to keep the edge faces hard on the edges. Okay, so I'm going to add these here, do the same thing here. And there we go. So now whenever we apply a turbo smooth, it should keep its shape. Okay, looking nice and smooth there. Alright, so this is going to be that third element that we need for the headlight. If you want, you can go ahead and scale it up just a little bit. But in my left view, or excuse me, my front view, I need to modify its shape a little bit. So let's grab the vertices across the top of this. Hit F3. Let's grab this, pull it to the left a little bit, and then we're going to grab the ones across the bottom and pull that to the right. So you should get something that looks kind of like this. I feel like I need to scale it in the X direction a little bit, make it a little thinner. And there we go, that looks good. Alright, so with this, what I want to do now is I want to create some spheres that are going to represent the LED lights on this. So let's go ahead and go to sphere, go to our front view, and I'm going to create one right about here. Hit F3 so you can see the size of that. Notice it's pretty low resolution. I want to make sure that my segments are set to 8 on that, and then I'm going to take that sphere and I'm going to pull that forward. Okay, and continue to pull that forward. And there we go, and I'm going to place it right in the middle of that. So it shouldn't touch the edge, so let's take our radius down a little bit. It should be able to fit right in between those two areas. Then let's pull it back in the Y. Okay, just like that. And then in my left view, what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit F3. I'm going to hold Shift. I'm going to drag this down to right about here. And I'm going to make some copies of that. Let's go ahead and just make them instances. Let's make 5 copies. Hit OK. And actually, I need one more. Let me try that again. Pull that down right about here. Let's make Let's go ahead and make 8 copies, just so that way we know we have enough, and then delete the ones we don't need. Okay. So you should have something that looks like this. Now go to your front view. All you have to do at this point is just simply pull them over to the left and centering those up in this object. Now they're still pretty low resolution, and we can leave them just the way they are, but I want to add a turbo smooth to one of them, and that will smooth that out. Okay, and it's going to do that for all of those. Oh, we forgot one here, so let's go to our front view, hit F3, select that, and then pull it over. That one may not be necessary, so you can go ahead and actually delete it. Alright, so now we have these elements all together. What I want to do now is I want to go ahead and maybe pull that forward just a little bit more, and I want to create the cavity that's going to encompass all of this. So this is going to be a little tricky. I'm going to go ahead and select this piece. Let's delete the turbo smooth off of that. Let's delete the turbo smooth off of this. I know that we already applied all of that, but I want to attach all of these together. So I'm going to select this. Let's attach it. Okay, and let's actually make that, whoops, did not want that back there. Let's make that unique, and let's attach that piece there. All right, perfect. So there we have this in place, and then let's add the turbo smooth back. The reason I want to do that is because it's just kind of for setup later. Ooh, looks like we've got an extra piece here. I do not want that. So let's go to element mode. Select those elements here. And let's hit F3 and just simply delete that. I'm not really sure where that came from. Alright, so that should be good. Alright. Let's go to our front view. Let's create a box. And I'm going to create a box from this corner down to this corner. Just like that. Give it a height, and then we're going to go to our left view. Let's take this box and pull it all the way to the front. Just like this. Then I'm going to convert it to editable poly. I'm going to take these polygons on the back and the sides and delete those out. Let's go to our front view. Let's go to vertex mode. I guess I could have created a plane. I didn't really think about that, but that's okay. Let's make sure that this is set up. And I'm going to try to get this to match the rim of this as closely as possible. So I'm going to add in a couple of loops, just kind of help this out. So I'll pull that up there. Let me go ahead and pull this down. And let me pull this one down. Okay, so something like that, and then edit Swift Loop, add one right there. I'm not worried about what it looks like in the left view just yet. Just trying to get this shaped out a little bit better. This could technically be used as the lens as well, so just kind of keep that in mind. Let's add one more loop right here across the middle. Take those outside vertices, pull that across like that, and then pull this one out. Okay, and then we're going to take this and we're going to push it back. I am going to go ahead and make a duplicate of this for the lens, so I'll hold Shift. Let me drag that forward. Let me just make it a copy and hit OK. Let's grab the one that's back behind here and start working with it. What I want to do is I want to just pull it back far enough to where that corner right there is matching. And then we're going to go vertex by vertex, and we're going to pull these into position. Okay, so I'll pull that one back here. And let's go ahead and just pull those a little bit further. And let's go to the next line of vertices. Pull that forward in the Y. And you can see the bottom edge is touching there. I'm going to take these, I'm going to pull those back. Let me take this vertex, let me pull that back to where it's basically straight here. Let me pull that down a little bit. It might help if you go to your left view. You can kind of see how that's positioned. So I'm just trying to make sure that we get these in a really good position here. So let's select these. Pull that forward in the Y. Then I'll take that. I'm going to pull that back. Take this one, pull that back as well. Alright, so it should cover up kind of like this. It kind of reminds me of the lens. In fact, if you want to speed things up a little bit, you can actually delete that first one that we created because it's flat. And then you can actually duplicate this one. Pull that out over here. So that way you're mostly there. But with this piece, let me go to my left view. Let me hit F3. Let's take this and let's pull these back a little bit more. What I want to do with this, I want to select all those polygons in that, and then I'm going to use inset. And so this is going to create a rim for me around the outside edge of this. And let's do something around here and then hit OK. And then I'm going to extrude it, but we're going to extrude it at 0, hit OK, and then pull it straight back on the Y. We're going to pull it back until it covers the back side of these elements. So something like that will do just fine. Let's inset it one more time just to kind of help it retain its shape along the back side of that. And then if you need to come in and do any reshaping here, you can do so. So I'll pull that forward. I want it to meet that seam there along the headlight trim. Okay, so just kind of play around with that, try to get that to set up properly. Really quickly, let's take this edge. Let me pull that down and maybe even pull it forward. There we go. Do the same thing here. Let's pull this forward first. Pull it down into the Y, maybe over in the X. Just about finished here, just doing some tweaking. Pull that forward there. Alright, so now let's get this right. Okay, so now we have that. Really quickly, let's go ahead and hit Alt-X. Bring that shape back there. You may have to come in and do a little bit of tweaking on the shape just to make sure that it's more of like a shell than anything. Let me go ahead and actually get rid of that edge on the inside. That's not going to be quite as important as I thought, so let's hit Control Backspace on that. Not that edge though. So Control Backspace, there we go, we've got that. And then let's add a turbo smooth to it. Notice how that rounds out really nicely. It kind of creates this little casing on the inside. You may have to just go into your front view, reshape it a little bit. So let's show end result there. Let me pull this down, kind of like that. Pull that forward there. So just kind of trying to play around with some of the shapes here. Get that to rest right on top of those. Now it is going to cut some of that off. You can see that we may have gotten the headlights a little bit too large. So let's go element by element. Scale that down in all three directions. Do the same thing here. Whoops. And then reposition those. Maybe pull them out a little bit more. Push them in. Something like that. And there we go. Let's go ahead and change the shape of the back there a little bit. Let's go to Edit, Swift Loop. Oops, let's make sure that we grab this object. And if I hit F3, I want to add a loop right here and also right up against this. Notice how it flattens that out and really makes that shape pop in there. Change the color and the material and assign that. And then we already have the piece that we need for our lens. So we'll put that right up into there. Get it close, and then you'll have to come in vertex by vertex and just start to push that in until it's no longer seen by that shape. Make sure that it's not sticking out anywhere, and then you'll want to bubble this out a little bit. Okay, so it creates that shape there. You may have to add in another segment, okay, around this. So a great way of doing this is selecting all the polygons, and let's do inset, and then we'll take that edge that goes all the way around that we just created and pull that out. Oops, let's not grab that edge. Pull that out like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this entire set of polygons and I'm going to use relax. And what that's going to do is it's going to just kind of relax the shape, flatten it out, make it nice and round. And there we go. Okay, let's go ahead and add a turbo smooth to it. That'll help as well. And there we go. You can see this part of the headlight just seems to be sticking out a little too far. So let's push that in. And there we go. We've just created all the pieces that we need for our headlight. We've finished that out. If you like to try to add a little bit more of a seam to this, select that border there, hold shift, drag that back, and that'll kind of bubble that edge a little bit more. So there you go. Let's hit Alt-X on that, and you can kind of see how that fits around that. Even though it's kind of an ugly shape, we've got a couple of stray vertices. I would like you to go ahead and maybe straighten up some of the verts on that. Maybe pull that forward some. Okay, and see how that's bringing that shape back out. Okay, and then there we go. So now we have our headlight lens. Everything is in there, looking really good at this point. Just do a little bit of tweaking here and there. There we go. All right, so the final thing to do on that headlight, you need to get it to the other side. What I would do is just go ahead and select these elements. Actually, let's select that case part there. Let's go ahead and attach it to the rest of that. Make all of this one solid piece, and then apply your symmetry. Okay, over. Make sure you reset your pivot point. And I'll have that ready for you in the next lesson there. So let's go ahead and move on from here. And what we'll do is we'll move on to the back and create the tail light. Now the tail light's not going to need quite as much detail. We're just going to create the lens for that, and then make sure that we have the proper splits that match the trunk. So I'll see you in the next lesson.